seems that he's distinguishing between God and the Lord Jesus, who is the exalted human being. Like I said in that previous verse, when Paul says there are many gods and many lords. So what he's saying is that for those people who have these gods and those people who have these lords. So what does he mean by the second bit? He means people who these people have who are exalted by them, who are referred to as semi-beings.
Yeah, like the lords we have in the parliament and all that.
Excellent.
But that one is completely different.
No, but I'm just going to, yeah. But so you know when he says, but for us there is one God, the Father. So he's telling us that one God that for us is the Father, and the Lords in the previous verse. But Christ is saying, but Paul is saying, but for us there is one Lord who is Jesus. So what he's saying is that amongst all those many lords, which are exalted humans, so for us there's only one exalted human who is Jesus, who is the Lord. You understand what I mean? Do you understand?
Your own interpretation.
I'm not, because the interpretation follows from the previous verse.
You've got to understand Paul's perspective and his view of saying that. Because even Paul wrote in 1 Timothy 3:16, he said, without controversy, bread is a mystery, the mystery of godliness. God was made manifest in the flesh. He was seen by angels. He was preached unto the Gentiles, and he has set it up in heaven. And then again, when we read the Gospel of John, 1, it says in the beginning, the Word was God, and the Word was God. All things are made by Him. Without Him was not anything made that was made. And the Word became flesh, and it dwelt among us. So now, when you compare 1 Timothy and 1 John, it confirms what 1 John tells us. So, unless you have a revelation of who Jesus is, you can do whatever you like.
So that verse you're quoting, I'm assuming that's the KJV translation you're quoting, isn't it? Of 1 Timothy 3:16.
It is in the scripture, whether it be KJV, whether it be other translation. Of course, other translations might be they have simplified it.
Well, they have different translation too. If you go to the Greek interlinear,
There are different translations, but some of the translations.
So it doesn't say God manifest in the NIV, in the other. Yeah.
When you read the KJV, it's kind of almost similar to the original manuscript.
It's not.
Have you seen the original manuscript?
Yes.
Where?
It's in central London. They've got the Codex Sinaiticus there. Central London.
In the library.
Yes.
The big library in Kingsford.
They got manuscripts from the earliest sources. It's called the Codex Sinaiticus and the Codex Vaticanus. I'll explain. So the KJV takes its corpus from the Textus Receptus. This was a set of manuscripts which were edified in the 11th century. They don't go to the earliest Greek manuscripts, my friend. You know, the reason why the NIV, the ESV, all these other versions came into circulation was because they observed that the KJV doesn't go to the earliest Greek manuscripts of the 3rd century.
So which one do you think goes to the earliest manuscript? So among all the translations, what do you think?
Yeah, so all the others claim to be following, so like for example the ESV, that claims to be following the earlier manuscripts. RSV.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you, what language was the manuscript that you claim is in the library, British Library in Kingsford? What language is it written?
Only Greek.
Do you speak Greek?
I don't speak Greek, but I've read.
How would you know?
Because I've read.
How would you know that it does not really similar to KJV?
Why? Because
Greek, but you have not read it.
The reason why it's not similar is because the KJV takes its text from the code.
Do you speak Greek? You don't speak Greek.
No, but
so how would you make such a statement?
Because this is widely. Okay, let me show it to you. For example, on the phone, I can show it to you.
Anything in the phone, really.
But this is common.
There's discrepancy on phone, basically.
Yeah, but what it doesn't matter. I don't need to speak Greek to know that.
You got to speak Greek to know that.
No.
Because now, if I say Quran in Arabic is corrupted and is written in Arabic, and I don't understand Arabic, don't you think that I would be making a great deal of mistake?
No, because you can read the translation as well to get an idea.
Yeah, the
Like, for example, you can't speak Aramaic, can you? Or Hebrew.
I can read the translation, but then I cannot read the Arabic which produced the original manuscript.
So I'll tell you why your example doesn't fit. Because, let me explain to you. You're trying to say to me, I should be able to read the manuscripts in Greek, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I'm saying to you is that it's well established that the Codex or the Textus Receptus is a later document, which is, by the way, also written in Greek as well. But it's not the same one as the Codex Sinaiticus.
But then you wouldn't know. You know, people may tell you that, but you wouldn't know. If it's written in Greek and you don't speak Greek, you don't read Greek, so how can you make a claim
Why?
like that?
I'll give you an example. So I'll tell you how I can make
You can give as many examples as
Okay.
you want.
Okay, I'll give you an example.
Until you know Greek, you understand Greek, then you can tell me. Yeah.
Okay, let me explain to you. 1 John 5:7. 1 John.
You see that one, even if you explain, you don't get it to my point. My point is...
That doesn't make any sense. You know why it doesn't make sense?
It makes sense. Because if only when you read and understand Greek,
Yes.
then you can say, yeah, this is original or the translation is a little bit different because you read from the Greek and you are expert in that, then you can explain it to people. Otherwise, you are not expert.
No, but
Neither do I.
No, but the point then being is everybody is aware. This is common knowledge, you
Not
see.
everybody, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, but it's not about me.
Yeah, it's about you. You are telling me, is everybody talking to me now?
All right.
No. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Nice talking to you.
Nice talking
I'll
to you.
find time and come and
Okay,
talk.
thank you.
Okay?
All right, you take care. Thank you.
So you take it easy.
I will. Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. So our friend over here just wanted to finish the conversation pretty quickly. He's expected me to speak the language of Greek, and I made mention to the Textus Receptus, the one the KJV follows those manuscripts which are from the 10th, 11th century. However, other versions like the NIV or the RSV or the ESV, they go to the earlier Codex Sinaiticus, which is from the 3rd century. But he was saying, no, I have to know it in Greek. I don't have to know it in Greek because they have separate manuscripts, and the KJV which he was citing is a much later edition, 11th century. That's where they take their documents from. Hence the NIV, ESV, RSV came into circulation because of the fact that they didn't go, because the KJV didn't go to the early Greek manuscripts. So unfortunately, he didn't seem to fathom that point. May Allah guide us all. Assalamu alaikum.